You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Chris, let's get to the legs. And before we look ahead, let's remind everybody where we've come from. Because what you left off with was a situation that seemed like a pretty delicate dance when it came to your kicking situation a season ago. Competition playing out for an extended period, just a true rotation for the majority of the experience. And then we had that, I guess, sort of evolved or shift as the season went on, but it's left us wondering what we were going to get this time around. Seems like we're going to open the season up with the competition still very much ongoing, but does it have an expiration date? Let's take a listen to Red Raider head coach Joey McGuire.
I would be shocked if it goes past the 3 non-conference games. I think it's going to be more like year one whenever Trey Wolf won the job, and we went with him. It's honestly, Stone Arrington has, competed at a really high level. He has been another big surprise. He's got a huge leg. When you talk to kicking coaches, they talk about his talent. But his first couple years, whenever he'd be kicking great, and then all of a sudden I would get out there next to him and he'd start shanking balls and get nervous. And I've tried every way possible to shake that kid over the camp to see if he really has grown, and he has. So, Upton has a leg up on everybody. Just from the standpoint, he's done it at a high level in game situations, but we're going to let those two go out and get after it. But, one person that's been a really huge pickup for us that I think is made these guys compete at a high level, I think it's put pressure on Jack, is Ian. I mean, if Ian goes out there and kicks a field goal, he's done it in, Big 12 games. He kicked one against us last year at Arizona State, and then he's put a lot of pressure on Jack to make sure he's locked in punting. So I think, he's an older guy that, understands his role and has really helped that room grow.
Chris, there seems to be a hierarchy, but it's not quite a clear picture, or doesn't sound that way to me. Kind of felt like we almost got away with something last year. So are we playing with fire again this year? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I wish that you just had a guy, and I think Upton Bellenfant is probably going to be that guy. I think that Stone Harrington is going to be your kickoff guy, and I think Jack Burgess will be your punter. However, I think that they've got what they wanted in that they have Stone Harrington. He stepped up. I think he's kind of, because the book on him was always like, it's kind of like Eddie Calvin LaLouche, like there was it in like I don't know where it's going, man. I really don't. I mean, like he just crazy arm, like he's just throwing it like 98 miles an hour, but it may hit the backstop, it may and then your catcher Crash Davis steps up and is like, hey man, I wouldn't dig in there if I was you. I really don't know where it's going. And he's like, come on. He's like, no, I really don't. I have no idea. Harrington he's got a hammer for a leg. I just think that at times, accuracy a bit of an issue, and let's say, but it sounds. I mean, you hear the head coach basically saying, we've tried to rattle him, but maybe it sounds like he's grown up a bit, and so I think he's going to get some opportunities here. I don't think this is what they want, is like an alternate deal, but I also think that you don't want to not give a kid a chance if he's earned the right to have that chance. And so at some point they'll have to, but what if it's even, and and you're going to Salt Lake City? I don't know, because I just remember, what was it, the Cincinnati game, and like you were rotating around last year, and it was a pretty close game, and it's like, okay, so you're really going to let and like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's just everybody's just buckled up, and we're going, okay, this kicking competition continues. I just thought to myself, like, somebody call it. I mean, just give me something, but they don't. We're probably talking about it way more than it is internally. I think it's fairly normal. It's just like, in those veins. But what's weird too about your kickers, you've got 3 juniors. I mean, you could theoretically have all 3 of these guys back again next year, and they would all be seniors. So, talking about Hershey and Belenfant and then Harrington. So I guess we could, kick competition all the way through the end of the 26 football season, I guess, if we really wanted to.
First, today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all the money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it can be easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. You're going to love the all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money today. Use our code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com and our code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for half off your first year.
But
I mean, the psyche of the kicker weighs in so heavily with that part of the game, and they're always in such crucial moments. So it really just between the years is hugely impactful and important. We've seen it many, many times. And I think that's why it's so interesting when you get into a true rotation. You're describing a situation like that in the Cincinnati game or other tight situations. I think I remember another where I don't know if we saw a miss or something like that, but we saw a guy take 2 attempts in a row. And then it was like, oh, now what does that mean for this delicate dance, as far as the rotation for the next guy? So you definitely want one. I do think it's interesting that, like I said, it seems like there's a hierarchy. Belenfant's name has to be mentioned first, but there's no running away with this yet as we're concluding fall camp. So
I'm
we'll
just
go on for a little longer.
Yeah, and a couple things. Kenny does a really good job of not coaching those kids like kickers. There's a lot of coaches, man. They just what
do you mean by that,
man? Yeah, do your thing, man. I'll call you when I need you. I'm not going to really talk to you. Run out there. I'm not going to mess with your form. Just bring your tea and make sure you got the holder, and y'all just go do your thing and go on the other field. In fact, there's 2 fields way over there. Just go out there, right? It's out of sight, out of mind. Kenny very much tries to engage them, toughen them up, treat them like a member of the team. They're doing all kinds of things, and it's I think that's probably good for them, especially when you're talking about competitions. And so are you going to be okay? Are you going to be able to handle this? Your fragile psyche that somebody may rotate and not, right? I mean, so, but I will make this statement. And not that something has gone terribly wrong. However, if Belenfant is not your place kicker regularly, if Burgess isn't your punter and Harrington is not your kickoff guy, there's been a minor upset here.
Yeah.
This, not that it's all gone wrong. Oh, what did we do? No, I just there's been a minor upset with those. That's how I would say that's how you're going to sort it out, or it's going to get sorted out. That's what it'll look like. But we may see, but you're protected. This is Ian Hershey is Mitch Griffiths. The guys kicked a field goal in Jones AT&T before, and he did it for the Big 12 champs last year at Arizona State. So you're covered, and he also can back up as a punter, and so you're protected. But that's how I think it will ultimately end up. So we'll see.
We know, guaranteed, you're going to be in many tight situations once again. So it's going to be a position factors in prominently once again in Lubbock, and I'm sure many other locales in the Big 12. So hopefully we'll have some similar luck, because even though you were in that delicate kind of state, I think overall your year was pretty successful. I mean, you navigated it fairly well, I think, at least as far as I recall. I hope I'm not missing a car crash somewhere. I'm sure somebody will remind me. Let's stick with the kicking game, Chris, for just a second before we move on and wrap up with Baron Morton. Maybe being able to practice this time around sounds like a great thing. because I'm interested in the guys that are bringing it back. This situation seems to have, I don't know, evolved or shifted a little bit in light of the Quentin Joyner injury, how that's impacted the running backs room, where we did find some guys involved in the return game. Jacoby Williams, Micah Hudson to figure in prominently now. I'll allow Red Raider head coach Joey McGuire to explain a little further.
Quentin's out for the year, Joyner, and that brings in that running back room. I know Kenny talked about it a little bit, that we kind of shake up a little special teams. Micah was number 2 behind Jacoby, but with that shake up, we're going to give Micah the start there, and he'll do a great job for us.
Chris, could this be the soonest, maybe most consistent chance we see for Micah Hudson to make an impact?